1주년 바라만 볼 것인가? 힛.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2016 League of Legends KeSPA Cup. The ROX Tigers have taken their second game in the series to put them one game away from clinching this KeSPA Cup title. Now, KONGDOO Monster are not without hope. They did take game number one, but need to bring it back to keep themselves in this tournament. But after a very strong performance from the Tigers, what is going to get them there?
Well, I think it really starts with Punch finding himself, because this series, the only thing he has found himself doing is being on the back foot to Peanut, and I mean, it's causing a lot of problems for KONGDOO Monsters.
It certainly is. Punch, especially one of the big superstars for their squad going into this series. Very strong performance in both semifinals and quarters to lead them here to the grand finals. And with the legacy of ESC Ever as the challenger team who came out and really proved themselves here in KeSPA Cup, KONGDOO Monsters kind of living that legacy after eliminating ESC in the semifinals to take them here to what could be their match point. We get into champion picks and bans for game number 4.
And we'll see how this pick in ban unfolds, as the Tigers probably have a lot of options available to them, given that KONGDOO likely has to ban away Nidalee and Syndra.
Peanut's biggest concern is, of course, keeping his lips from being chapped as he lets the rest of his team really make the big decisions when it comes to champion picks and bans. It's going to be Echo taken off the board always. Syndra, no surprise there. And again, banning that Rise away from Edge.
Yep. And so the Rise being banned away is a little bit surprising, especially when Cry has shown us that his Cassiopeia is no joke, and it seems like he's very comfortable in that matchup as well.
And with now 2 out of the mid laners that we've seen prove very successful, we're going to join that with a jungler that we've seen be pretty successful in his own right. Peanut 1 will not be able to pilot that champion in this, what could be the last game. See what else is taken off the board here. Now, with no Nidalee here, what are we looking to really see? Is this the game where you choose to really pressure the jungle? Is that high priority? Because we've seen Lee Sin be the biggest pick between these two junglers.
Well, Ezreal and Karma will round out the bans, and Soul did have a pretty impressive performance on that Ezreal. So it's not like it's a completely wasted ban, but it is just directly targeted at Soul, who's already shown us, though, that he does like to play Jhin.
Now, this could be where Peanut drops the hammer and just says, look, my Lee Sin is actually just the best. No Nidalee there to counter it is another top-tier aggressive pick, and that means that ROX Tigers might be just going back to that game number 2 and, riding the Peanut train to victory.
Yep, and Peanut getting his Lee Sin, that's pretty dangerous, and I'm really surprised that the Lee Sin wasn't banned away instead of the Karma. And so KONGDOO better have a response to this.
It could be Varus, champion we saw piloted very successfully by Prey, maybe wanting to take that away from him. But, I mean, when it comes to it, that's just not the biggest thing there. Looking for more love, there's this Cacao ID, and of course, big greetings there. From wherever you are in the world, if you are here in Korea watching, thanks for coming out. Of course, getting back to the pick phase here. Looks like it might be a Rek'Sai for Punch, but he knows what he's going into here, so maybe not necessarily pick that jungle pick quite so early.
Yeah, and it looks like they will probably lock in the Jhin and Poppy. But with Rumble being up for Smeb, we know that he's no stranger to that matchup, and certainly very adept at managing to bully out Poppies with that Rumble pick.
Yeah, we saw Rumble banned last game, and now we're coming back here into a world where Poppy already on the table. You were actually the one mentioning how comfortable Cry seemed in piloting that Cassiopeia. Well, that's the champion he's maybe thinking about right now, and another Ashe performance for Prey. At some point, he just can't keep getting away with that. Such an incredibly stellar performance there. On an AD carry that he really sort of favored Jhin in over, not prioritizing that this time around and getting that as the soft counter here to the gem.
Yeah, and the Karma pick already locked in. And it looks like it's accompanied by a Rek'Sai, so we are getting to see Punch on that Rek'Sai pick again, and that's not something I feel super comfortable watching against Peanut's Lee Sin.
Especially since Punch has been trying to keep pace. And when you do get that little bit behind, Peanut's just shown that he knows how to keep that from being possible. I don't know, what do you think of these last two picks? Because we've already seen them this tournament.
I mean, the Tigers with the Jhin and Zyra selected, and the Tigers already having that Ashe, you might not be surprised to see them instantly respond with the World's meta and just hit them with a Rumble and Zyra.
Well, Zyra has been locked in there as well as the Rek'Sai. And
Misfortune.
In response to the Zyra pick, I mean, you can't deny Gorilla his innovative pick in this Misfortune, which might just be locked in. And of course, Prey has been hovering over either Kled or Sion for Smeb. I really don't think we're going to be seeing that in this such a pivotal game. The Jace, of course, would make a little bit more sense, but of course, Rumble's still always open.
Yep. And so the Misfortune is basically the World's meta pick response to Zyra, and this is a team composition or a bottom comp that the Tigers are going to have so much more practice at both playing with and playing against that Zyra Jhin. And you have to wonder how much practice does the KONGDOO Monsters really have against Ashe Misfortune? This might be a matchup that they're not really too experienced in actually playing, even though they know that it exists. And that can be really problematic as a game unfolds.
That is true. This is 3 patches past the World's meta, so maybe they prepared in advance for what's strongest here, whereas the Tigers already know how to pilot this this team comp. We've gotten a chance to see them play that duo lane combo at Worlds, and now finalizing the KONGDOO Monsters picks with an Orianna for Edge. This is something that we've got a chance to see piloted a couple games yesterday, and really seemed to be pretty solid, but for Edge, what do you think that brings to this KONGDOO Monster lineup?
Well, the Orianna does have a lot of synergy here with Roach and with Punch on the Poppy and the Rek'Sai, but I'm still pretty worried about how he's going to manage to fare against Cry's Cassiopeia in the mid lane, and I feel like the Tigers have 3 winning lanes, including even the jungle, and I don't know what KONGDOO is going to really do against this, because this is the first time that they're going to be under this kind of pressure.
We'll see what they can KONGDOO about it as we get into our possibly last game of the series. It's a best of 5 with one more game before between the Rocks Tigers and being KeSPA Cup champions. For KONGDOO Monster, they of course need to bring things back to stay in this. You're going to see the Tigers there on your screen. Smeb, Peanut, Cry, Prey, and Gorilla. Kuro having yet to be fielded, so the Tigers think that this is the way to go. Of course, their opponents on the other side, KONGDOO Monster, Roach, Punch, Edge, Soul, and Googer, there to round out their lineup. And as we do get into this game, do want to mention that if you guys want to pick yourself up some Korean tournament swag, head online and check out the store.eslgaming.com and hit it up over there. We're going to head into what could be our last game of the night, so get out there, cheer for your teams, and get ready, because game number 4 starts right now. Now, if you weren't excited yet, those cheers have to get you pumped up for this game number 4. As we get things started with the Rocks Tigers on the blue side facing off against KONGDOO Monster on the red. We might see our first little bit of damage being done there as Prey pushes Soul back away. Peanut also getting a little bit of poke of his own on the top half of the map. No aggressive 5-man invades just yet. So we look to start game number 4 off a little bit more passively.
Yep, and so far, nothing unfolding too chaotically for either team. Just taking a little bit of damage by KONGDOO, or for KONGDOO, and a lot of vision actually secured on Punch's red side jungle for the Tigers, and this is going to let them know just when Punch finishes his red buff or where exactly it is that he starts, and give Peanut the information that he feels is he's going to need as he makes his way to the bottom half side of the map.
Okay, so keeping an eye on what we can see here. manaless junglers on both sides, so potentially early blue buffs to be traded over, which could dictate the routes that both of them do take. Lee Sin's starting actually on the blue side this time, whereas Roach is starting on that the red side like we've seen a lot of manaless junglers do.
And Peanut does look like he is actually taking the blue buff, so it's not going to be handed over to Cry, and we're also not seeing any sort of aggressive opening from him. There is the possibility that he could go from drop to red buff, and because of that, that's actually why Punch starts with the red buff instead of the gold.
Interesting to see that logic there, but once again, we're going to see them make it rain a lot down there. Lots of chance of precipitation. The most difficult word to say, as Gorilla keeps putting the pressure on his signature Misfortune pick. Mid lane, we're seeing Edge push Cry under turret, and the Orianna pick necessarily, more of a team face or team focused, mid laner. But we've been seeing consistent 1v1s there. Do you think that that's a matchup that Edge can do well with the pick?
Well, Edge in 1v1 is going to have a little bit of an advantage, but mid lane is generally considered to be a 2v2 lane at the professional level. So when you entertain the Lee Sin and the Rek'Sai, it becomes a little bit difficult for Edge to find an edge in that lane. And
oh my god,
as Punch wants to get a little aggressive.
Completely unscouted. Now Prey, flash to stop him from getting immediately locked up. A miss though on that deadly flourish, but it's still just barely enough damage for a kill to go over to Soul.
Yep. And meanwhile, in mid lane, Edge actually taking a lot of damage there. Gonna be forced out entirely and forced to recall maybe. Oh, he's not recalling. He's actually choosing to stay in the lane. Punch making his way over is good, but I don't think they can actually find a kill onto Cry.
And Punch was scouted, if I'm not mistaken, on his way up there. I think Ward might have just died, or maybe he was not. But either way, he is going to have a decent angle here onto Cry. Edge pretty low, but he does have those double potions, sustaining him right back up, and no committal to get into that minion wave onto Cry.
And that's actually really bad, because Punch absorbed a little bit of experience away from Edge. So even though he relieved a little bit of pressure, what's going to end up happening is Cry doesn't have to use any more abilities in this lane, and so his mana is able to just keep replenishing up. And he's able to pressure Edge out of lane, and right now you see Punch handing over the blue buff. That will alleviate some of the pressure, but an experience gap was created ever so slightly.
We'll see if that is really the experience gap that turns the mid lane around. If it does give Cry that level 6 to give him the slightest of advantages to put him in his favor. Now, Peanut versus Punch here. Punch, of course, facing off against the champion. He knows so well. See what he can do with it. No, there's Roach. One auto attack away. It's a flash attempt to stun Smeb, but it's not executed in time. And he comes away with a solo kill.
Yeah, Smeb is absolutely furious ever since those solo kills that Roach got on him. And he's been solo killing Roach left and right since the previous game. And this time, in the opposite matchup, Smeb is the one with the gigantic lead.
This is another one of those anything you can do, I can do better situations where you're just getting to see the different classes of top laners. Let's go take a look at this one more time.
And you can tell that Roach was not expecting this trade to come out because he had so many minions on his side, but Smeb just not taking any damage, and he knew exactly how far he could take it and find that kill onto Roach.
And even the attempted turnaround there, a little bit skeptical at best. Roach loses his flash, his life, and a bunch of experience there at turret.
And mobility boot's actually the first item of choice for Peanut. He certainly needs to make stuff happen.
Oh, here comes Peanut with a big attempt at picking up a kill in the bottom lane. Counter gank is good here for Roach, but the Make It Rain just barely predicts a chance of death in the bottom lane. Oh my god, he's going for it again. Peanut will tank up the last turret shot, make it out alive, and pick up not one, but 3 more kills for the Rox Tigers.
Yep, and he made the mobility boosts a worthwhile investment as the bottom lane just got turned on its head. Meanwhile, up in top, Smeb does hit level 6. Roach's not yet there. And we're going to take a quick replay again. So Punch was actually here in position, but he doesn't have flash. And so because of that, they were able to get a lot of damage down onto Soul, find the kill onto him, and then Gunnar and Punch trading unnecessarily actually resulted in Punch going down. Prey end up getting executed by Turret, but Peanut could take it all the way and find the final kill.
Yeah, Prey dies that Peanut might live, and of course cause other people to die at the same time. 4-1 early on. The Tigers off to an early lead with great participation from the jungler that really kind of brought them a win in game number 2. Peanut starting to get the littlest of advantages here in a way that he really knows how to hammer it home. Who gets the smite is actually Peanut to steal the red buff away from Punch, get out cleanly, unscathed. Of course, now he's hitting level 6, has that Dragon Rage up, makes so many more plays. Trading down the bottom half of the lane does go pretty well for the Tigers. Wow, things starting to get a little bit scary.
Yeah, things are definitely getting scary indeed. And Peanut making his way down to the bottom half of the map again. And I think it's really interesting as well how much attention has actually been focused on the bottom side. You have to figure that's a direct response to how much attention KONGDOO Monsters like to devote to that area of the map.
No one lane completely devastated just yet, but with as much presence as Peanut has had, you have to keep eyes on him. And of course, here in the Mexico Auditorium, there are literally thousands of eyes honed in on these players and the plays that they're making. Of course, many more watching from afar. These grand finals of the KeSPA Cup, always a tournament where really anything can happen. We've seen the craziness that was the 2015 KeSPA Cup, and coming in here to these grand finals, I mean, you just cannot overstate the potential that KONGDOO has, that they are so close to losing out against.
Yeah, and one of the other things for me is, looking at this bottom lane in particular, I think it's absolutely brilliant, again, that the Tigers are using the Ashe Misfortune combo that KONGDOO Monsters is probably not that comfortable playing against due to just lack of experience against it. But also, on top of that, Guger, this entire tournament, only showed himself playing melee, tanky, initiation supports, and now all of a sudden in the series he's choosing to play Zyra out of nowhere, and it doesn't look like he's that comfortable on it.
And it certainly does not, especially since previously he played Nami, which still plays the same kind of poking role, but has the sustained, weather the storm of something like all this Misfortune poke that has already resulted in one, if not more, kills here for the Tigers. Now, Peanut's still looking to get the steal here, and he does dissuade Punch from taking that. Of course, will also keep that from going in onto Edge quite as quickly. There's the ward jump forward. The damage come in. An immediate kick flash to put Edge in a little bit of a rough spot. No turnaround there from the Shockwave, and Peanut just looking like the jungler he's played against several times. Looking flawless there. I don't really know what to say about this. The Peanut show is alive and well. It's been renewed for a second season.
Yeah, and I mean, Punch just sort of taking it. He doesn't really have anything to say. Peanut out-farming him. Also note that Punch went for the Bobby Cinder over the time at to try to keep up with Lee Sin's clear speed. And on top of that, no boots for him either, so Peanut is just running circles around the KONGDOO Monsters.
And immediately right into the Petrifying Gaze. The combo is just so smooth here. The Tigers execute flawlessly.
Meanwhile, down in bottom lane, Punch having a gank denied. Cry with a solo kill.
And Edge had flash, but he was grounded there at the end. Down to bottom lane is Peanut going aggressive again. He will get locked up and stopped for now. Punch pretty low, and the Rock Tigers going forward. Actually, Peanut over-aggressive, and he will go down. A last-second auto attack from Prey finds the counter kill there. It's a 2-for-1 so far. But here comes this curtain call. How many bullets will he hit? A big crit to come out. It does hit Prey. He's burning down, and it will actually be the Deathfire touch to find one. Guger there to auto attack for a second. A big turnaround gets KDM one of their first leads of the game.
Yep, they did not give enough credit to Soul's curtain call right there, and it ended up costing them. And it almost looked like a calculated situation for Prey, but the Deathfire, a little too much, able to give Soul that kill onto him while Guger cleaned up Gorilla.
Take another look at it once again. What goes wrong here for the Tigers?
Peanut just arrives a second too late, and at this point they took it a little too far. Peanut doesn't really have too much damage to offer yet at this point in time. And after they found the kills, Gorilla and Prey were actually too far separated apart to really do anything about this, and so they both just got picked off respectively.
Yeah, returning back to live to a 2v2 where no one will die, but Ultimate's expended nonetheless. Peanut still going for the utmost here, putting more damage onto Punch and really just zoning him out of his own jungle.
Yep, and it's actually a little impressive. Punch has a level lead over Peanut.
They do force him out, but mid lane pressure required for that. And even if Peanut's not the one making these big plays, he's at least freeing up Cry, pulling Edge out of his lane, and now Cry coming up as well. A lot of battling being done up here.
Yeah, and a lot of pressure being put onto top lane, and isn't just because of the red buff. It's because they know that Roach needs to recall, and this is going to guarantee that the Rox Tigers get the first blood turret onto Smeb.
He will be continuing to push that. The minions doing the rest of the work for him. Continue to damage that out there. Punch did get the smite to secure his red buff, and he will take his Raptor camp as well. So the situation, at least for him, has stabilized just a little bit. But Peanut dangerously poised to have another one of the very scary carry performances did showcase earlier on. Now, Punch back to an unscouted trip to the bottom lane. This is what got them their first advantage. We might see them find it once again. Cougar walking a little bit too far forward will go down. And it's going to be a nice hit there from the last part of the curtain call to find one kill, and maybe more to come in here. Gorilla trying to run back away. Teleport's actually canceled. They pretty much leave Gorilla up for dead. Punch there to secure that kill, and another turnaround goes KONGDOO's way.
Yep, and this is a nice pickup and a pretty big wake up by Punch here as we approach the mid game. Peanut checking on that dragon. He just wants to see if they are taking it, and I feel like Punch could take it at this point without much resistance.
See if they do commit for that. I mean, Peanut in the area is always going to be a scary situation to be in, but let's watch this turnaround again.
So, Cougar going in for an engage, he actually just gets turned around on by Prey and Gorilla, but they weren't expecting Punch, and if you look at the vision control, they keep actually falling to this same sort of game path that Punch keeps initiating on them. And so, Soul was going to be able to actually finalize the kill there, but it ended up going over to Punch in the end. And right now, Roach doing his best to not give up First Blood Tower, but it is going to go over to Smeb.
He's not going to lose that 1v1 again. He did have his ultimate to maybe disengage if he did want to clear that wave to keep it alive again, but oh, Soul going to stay safe, and he will get to the lower side of the minion wave to at least make it more difficult for Peanut to get in. But, I mean, he's going to push the go button here soon enough. Prey does have that enchanted crystal arrow as well. And here comes Peanut. The arrow will hit in onto Cougar, and exhaust onto Peanut. Still allows him to get the kick, find himself another kill, but what a crit from Soul that turned it right back around, and for the second time this game, critting down Peanut. Summoner heal to help get Prey out of range of the curtain call, but I mean, a 1-for-1, making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, a 1-for-1 in the end, and you could tell no one was expecting that damage.
Okay, double summoners and an ultimate committed by Cry for no benefit. A nice save there is Punch, once again, right in the right place at the right time.
Yep. And Punch is really stepping up his game in this match as it moves forward with being in the right place at the right time, as you just mentioned, and denying another kill onto mid lane. So we just take a look at this again, and the exhaust came out from Cougar on Peanut, and that delayed him activating the dragon kick. But
oh my
that
god,
final crit by
500 damage out of nowhere, and it's just the Jin potential. It's the Jinergy down there, making it work for the KONGDOO monster. Gorilla pushed out of lane for good this time. Oh my. Well, it's so scary. So almost finding another pick. Peanut down there for moral support, not looking for kills this time. He already knows what happens when he tries to get in onto Soul. But what's really the effect that's swinging this game in one way or another? Is it just Smeb winning out so hard, or the Peanut effect? What's going on?
Well, the problem is right now is that Jin is almost dealing true damage to 3 of the members on Rox's team. And that's something that's very problematic this early on. So the person that has all the gold for the KONGDOO monster is the one that they need to have all the gold. And it's all going to come down to, can the Tigers actually find a way to shut him down? That's going to be on Peanut to find a way to insect him into the Tigers team.
Well, it is on Peanut, and when everything was on Peanut in game number 2, he delivered. So let's see if he can do it once again. Stun for stun traded up in the top lane as Cry on another unsuccessful roam can't find a kill. Great reaction by Roach. He stays alive. He doesn't get completely destroyed by that committal from Cry. In the meantime, across the map, we have seen the first blood turret go down, but we're really just looking for what KONGDOO want to do. They have been the ones being pretty reactionary so far.
Yep. And now, not quite sure if Smeb is just going to keep heading back up to top lane. He's just farming the drop right now.
Super exciting. Gromp Farming Simulator 2016. You know, one of the interesting thoughts that I had coming into this series is how, in some way, this is kind of Najin versus Najin, sort of the remnants of that forming the Rocks Tigers earlier on, and KONGDOO Monster being the organization that took over for that org. But let's hold the history lesson as we get into a big bottom lane dive. Prey flashing one of the last curtain call hits, but might not be able to make it out alive. He does just barely. Roche in the back line, and the rest of KONGDOO zoned out by the turret. Can they continue to commit? Roche actually flashing right into Peanut. He might not be able to make it out alive. He's trying to get the stun, and he actually does. There's the protection, but an Ash Arrow comes right back forward. It's going to be kills on both sides as Roche trades his life for Peanut. In the end, it's going to be a 2-for-1 once again in KONGDOO's favor.
Yep, and that's a pretty big 2-for-1 indeed, as now KONGDOO is actually knocking on bottom turret's door. And they might be able to get it here. Smeb and Gorilla have to be really careful. And KONGDOO Monsters elects not to actually continue on with their push, but meanwhile, Edge doing a lot of damage to the mid lane turret. So we can see how this all actually starts up here with Edge finding a solo kill onto Cry. So a little bit of a punchback right there. And in bottom lane, we already know the chaos that unfolded there.
Yeah, actually crazy, including that in what was a 2-for-1 overall. The 1v1 situation here has been really just the Cry show so far, especially with his Cassiopeia performances yesterday and today. They've looked incredible. Edge, though, he's not giving up. He was down 0-2. And as a 0-2 Orianna, you generally, when you're going up against a 2-0 mid laner, you're going to play that more defensively, more utility mage style. No, Edge is just going for it, turning it literally around in his favor.
Yep. And right now, just a little bit of a breather for both teams. Red buff coming up. Peanut probably wants to get that before trying to make any more plays happen. But KONGDOO, they're really keeping themselves in this game, and I thought the game was going to turn into a blowout after what happened in bottom early and with Peanut getting all those kills, but KONGDOO's really fought their way back, and right now a lot of the advantage is up there in Smeb, where Roche is still really far behind him.
Now, Peanut went for this relatively squishy, maximum damage build, but he's going up against Punch, who's just building nothing but tank stats so far. Arrow missing. Okay, actually does hit on to Googer. Shock Blast to follow up there as well. But no more damage. A big push here for the Tigers. If they can get underneath here. There comes the Stranglethorns, not going to latch onto anyone. Googer with the flash to commit to that. And here comes the curtain call. The slow rocks off of their disengage. Roach coming down from the top lane on that Poppy. He's taking a little bit of harassment there by Cry. Nothing too drastic. He's down to half HP, and we'll have to be careful. Oh, Peanut! I got so nervous he was going to go down from that. Instead, Googer almost falls. Will just barely stay alive, all calculated. He'll be disengaging there. Minion wave cleared off really on both sides. Googer survives, no casualties just yet.
Yeah, and right now, probably the Tigers going to pick up that Water Dragon. And we don't see any reason not to. And bottom lane, KONGDOO Monsters are all wrapped up down there, which is going to give Cry the ability to go into mid lane and probably get the tier 1 mid lane turret. Peanut might accompany him because he has that red buff.
And that'll certainly take it down incredibly quickly. Now Googer rejoining the rest of his team is now KONGDOO on the chase, actually looking for a pick. Forcing the flash out of Smeb there, but have they overextended? The Shock Blast coming forward and Punch taking most of the damage, trying to find his way to a tunnel, but he can't get in fast enough. And it's going to be the KONGDOO jungler dropping his Cry, flashing over the wall, willing to immediately stun in response, but there's actually a Make It Rain too fast for Edge to complete his turnaround. And that's going to be 3 kills traded back to the Tigers. A little bit too far forward.
That's going to be 2 towers, I think. With Jace here, and as strong as he is, in addition to Gorilla being there, you can know that they're going to take both towers. And with top lane looking so ugly right now for KONGDOO Monsters, they're in a really, really rough spot. So the game just literally got flipped upside down when the Tigers have a gigantic lead.
Well, I mean, the game has kind of been a revolving door at this point, except sideways, which is not a revolving door at all. Either way, it's been going both ways with KONGDOO getting off to an early deficit, coming back, then finding, taking the worst side of a team fight, and then coming back, and now, well, they're going to need to come back from what was a big overextension. Cry not afraid to make these actually huge plays.
How did that actually stun Edge? He's not even looking at him, but nonetheless, big pickups for the Tigers right there.
It's called peripheral vision, LS. You can see it off to the side. Either way, a nice committal by Cry. Like you said, not afraid to push the go button. The rest of the Tigers follow up perfectly And oh, Cry looking for another pick. Roach grounded there, and he will be forced to run back away. Does not want to turn it in onto Cry, who's actually looking backwards now himself to try to disengage. He is pretty quick. Run away through the acceleration gate. Tigers all alive. Roach pushed back to base.
And Cry has been looking absolutely fantastic in every single game he's been on that KeSPA.
MVP performance yesterday in their game against SK Telecom. Certainly looking towards maybe securing that award for himself again here in the finals. So I gotta say, everything looking pretty bang on for the Rocks Tigers. And for KONGDOO, yes, they have managed to fight their way back. Yes, Seoul is an incredibly strong carry on an incredibly strong carry, but I mean, when it comes down to it, there's really not a whole lot of holes here for the Rocks to be exploited.
Yep. And, oh, looks like Smeb's looking for a cute play maybe up in top lane. Never mind, he ends up showing himself.
Peanut running through the jungle, clearing out wards as he goes. Looking to find any picks that he possibly can. I mean, I can't stress the stress, really, that must be on kind of these players. I mean, for the Tigers, they really don't seem too stressed at really any point. But for KONGDOO, a lot of weight on themselves. Saying in earlier interviews that they really looked at this tournament as the chance, the opportunity, where all things are pretty equal. Amateur teams, challenger teams, and some of the best teams in the world all in the same tournament. It levels the playing field as far as qualifications go and gives a team like KONGDOO the chance to make it all the way here to the finals. But then the responsibility really hits home to really make a good showing to redeem themselves after being what they actually called themselves kind of a free win after getting relegated. They came back through challengers, requalified, and now this is the new KONGDOO. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, KONGDOO Monsters, they've come back from what I would consider a way worse disadvantage in game number 1. And so they're not out of the game yet.
Guger trying to get a big flank in there. He will secure a knock up there onto Prey. Will set up for more damage from this curtain call, but just not enough. Oh my god! A huge damage from Soul that's just way ahead of the curve, but not ahead enough to avoid. Oh, Peanut. Poor Soul. A nice flash to try to stay within turret range. Confirm on the cube, but no committal. Peanut wisely reforming himself from his previous ways and not just always going in on the Lee Syndrome. But I don't even think he's deterred now that Punch is down there, just setting the rest of his team up to take this outer turret in the bottom lane.
And so Soul did manage to live there, and the reason Peanut doesn't follow it up is they know that Soul has heal. And so he doesn't want to get locked up underneath that turret with Punch you can assume is on the way. Dragon going to be up by a minute. That's another turret going over to the Tigers. And Seraph's Embrace actually third item for Cry.
Just now completed. So taking us back through here, I mean, Guger has a good idea for the flank, but just gets locked up too quickly.
I feel like this actually just speaks to the inexperience that the KONGDOO Monsters must have against this bottom lane composition. Because that sort of play is just really unnatural when you should know how much damage Ashen Misfortune can really inflict on you.
At any point in the game, yeah, you have to know where that kill potential is. Almost a turnaround, but Soul actually missed one of his first few shots of the curtain call that might have been a little bit easier to hit. In the end, the Tigers duo survives and is able to take out Guger for his 4th death of the tournament. So keeping an eye up here on the top lane, the tension mounting, but no one there to punish the overextension. Cry is coming top lane, and he doesn't know about Guger's positioning. Might be looking for a pick. Of course, Cry thinks this is pretty free. No latch on either one of those spells, and Cry escapes with the ever so slightest of sidesteps.
Yep. And that's not going to be very good right now for the KONGDOO Monsters because they have so many members of their team up in top lane. And with Dragon coming up and with the Tigers rotating to the bottom side of the map, Roach doesn't have teleport to get away from this. And I mean, Edge is completely out of position.
Oh, and Guger trying to find his pick onto Cry. Seraph's is used, and all the shots will miss. Cry just able to put on his dancing shoes and survive pretty much forever. Punch now the one to come up here, and okay, that's gonna hit. Yeah, one way to get the kill. Sooner or later, Soul finds it, And a good defense on the bottom second tier turret as it gets dropped lower and lower. Roach the one to take the arrow, Edge out alive. Turret, though, will most likely fall here. Look at the follow-up. Peanut to secure the kill. Edge going forward the way he doesn't want to go and gets taken down in the end.
Yep, and they might actually be looking for the inhibitor turret. Roach, I don't think he's going to be able to defend this, not from this amount of damage. And
even
this is what I was worried about.
Slowed up there towards the end, but maybe a turnaround coming in. I mean, Soul is ridiculously strong. So if they can find a setup for him to get in onto this retreating Rocks lineup, I mean, there's the flash forward from Googer, turns it into an exhaust onto Prey. We'll trade 1 for 1 at least in that matchup. Peanut trying to run away, punch on the chase. Peanut does have the Guardian Angel, so he'll get to live a second time if he does go down, but will not as the rest of Rocks Tigers retreat for their second Ocean Drake.
Yep. And now the question is going to be, do they kill this really quick? And it seems that they are going for it, so the second Ocean Drake going over to them will help with their extended trades and any sort of siege attempt that they want to do, and which is certainly one of their win conditions inside of that Jace.
Well, inside of the Jace, inside of Cry, and really inside the hearts of all of the Tigers. After falling short in Worlds to SK Telecom, their run coming a little bit short of where many of their fans, of course, just everyone thought that they might have had the chance of advancing further. Well, now they get a chance at a championship of their own, one that, you know, the likes of teams like SK Telecom, KT Rolster, not even the second place Samsung could make it this far, and now they are one game away of securing this KeSPA Cup championship. KONGDOO definitely, you know, underdogs maybe on paper coming into this, but with solid performances up until here, this is where it matters. Peanut strong all game long, might be looking for something onto Roach.
Yep, and maybe just looking to deal a little bit of damage to Roach. Roach able to get away though. Baron seems to be the priority right now for the KONGDOO Monsters, and that's not something that I'd like to see, primarily because I don't feel like they really are in a position to try to take this or even sneak it.
Love the
could be their downfall actually starting this.
Love the mortal reminder coming in onto Gorilla, so he will be doing a decent amount of damage for the AD carry support. Starting to tick this Baron lower. Peanut off behind. We'll just push them right back. Gorilla, though, getting caught out there, and he is very squishy, and will just get instantly bursted.
Yep. But a lot of the members took a lot of damage, and Smeb still has teleported.
So this is do or die here. KONGDOO Monster do know they're going to lose their bottom inhibitor. Smeb does go on the push, but committing to this dragon, Peanut capable of ending their careers. Trying to lock up Cry, they will take him dangerously low. They're down to a couple thousand HP. Peanut in the pit. There's damage over the wall. Who gets the Baron? It is KONGDOO Monster. They're going to find a few kills along with it. They do pop that Peanut GA. They're looking for more kills. They've already taken down Cry. Gorilla dead from previously. There's the respawn coming in on to Peanut. He'll drop instantly. Prey looking to get forward. Almost finds that kill onto Soul, but in the meantime, they've actually been able to push Smeb out of their base. Look at Prey kiting like a monster. The tunnel back away. Okay, that's going to be the auto attack that does it. A Prey Seeker to take him down. And in the end, KONGDOO come away with the Baron. Several kills, but they lose that bottom inhibitor and a Nexus turret.
Yeah, and that's really dangerous because now it means that they can't leave no one to respond to the super minions that are actually going to be pushing on the Nexus. One Nexus turret certainly not capable of actually deflecting the minions, and I really thought this was actually going to be game over because they didn't even need to actually contest the Baron. All they had to do was prevent recall. Smeb could have taken the Nexus, but instead they went for the Baron. Peanut not able to secure it. Had he done it, it would have been game over for KONGDOO Monsters, and so a huge desperation play ends up paying off for KONGDOO and keeps them in this game.
And Prey trying to do the utmost, stopping all of those recalls. He actually does get in there for a lot of damage as well, but unfortunately the volley doesn't stop guys like Edge and Roach from recalling and able to stop Smeb from just straight up winning. Now, KONGDOO find themselves with this Baron, and good positioning here in the mid lane, but can they find any result off of it, or was the most important thing about that Baron that they denied it from Rocks?
Well, the most important thing is that they did deny it from Rocks, but the gold that they picked up from it was also pretty crucial to helping them complete their items, which would give them more of a fighting chance against the Rocks Tigers right now.
Peanut looking for the longest trip for a flank any jungler has ever taken, walking an incredible distance around, but finds himself in a good spot. That arrow does land on Roach. He and Punch are pretty tanky up in the front line, but here comes Peanut. Look at Saul. He's going to immediately cancel that ultimate. Peanut in the back line, though, will get ushered back away. He does kick a very tanky Roach into Saul, but now he's actually forced to flash defensively. Saul there trying to lock him up there. Gorilla coming back around there. Looking to channel big ult, but meanwhile in the base, there are Winions pushing in. It's going to be Roach there back to try to keep this turret alive for as long as possible as the rest of KONGDOO Monster disengage from the fight, trying to make it back to their base.
Yeah, and that's a lot of damage being done by those minions. Finally, the minions are actually spawning out of the Nexus to help Roach and Enter too. But you can see Peanut was gunning for Soul right there, unable to find him, and so the Rocks Tigers gonna have to take a little bit of a breather as we're gonna reset yet again. Dragon coming up though in a little bit over a minute. But, I mean, with all that pressure that's applied from the bottom lane super minions, the Tigers have a lot of options available to them, especially the top tier 2 outer turrets still remaining.
Wow, easily could have been the sickest flank from Peanut to kick Soul into the middle of the enemy team, but instead nothing really works for the Tigers. They hit an Ash Arrow in onto the tanky front line that doesn't wind up doing anything. Soul didn't have any summoner spells for that last fight, but still managed to stay safe from Peanut's incredible flank. That did not work out. So Tigers withstanding this Baron buff from KONGDOO. However, the Monsters use it to hang on for just a little bit longer. 33 minutes into the game. When it gets to this hyper late game that we are coming up to, who's really going to have the strongest late game team composition?
I mean, you're probably going to have to give it to KONGDOO Monsters just because of how far ahead Jin is right now. And Poppy, even though Roach, his score is not too great, I mean, he's slowly making his way to those 4th and 5th items. And I mean, Peanut without his flash is going to be under so much pressure to really secure that kill onto Soul, and if they can't find that, I don't know how they're going to win the team fights if this game goes on another 10-15 minutes.
Here comes a Cloud Drake. KONGDOO on top of it. They will crit this thing down so fast. Oh my. They get in, take their first dragon of the game, and return back to business. Now, Inhibitor's still down on the bottom half of the map, but it has been pushed out pretty securely. Sneb, though, looking to take, like you mentioned, that second tier top lane turret.
Yep. And he does get it in the end. Now he's going for a little bit of poke onto Roach.
Yeah, Roach actually just cannot stand up to so much armor penetration. An arrow to immediately stop this curtain call, but it is not actually canceled. Gorilla just barely able to survive and dodge the shots he needs to stay alive.
And I really like how Soul's actually itemized this game. Definitely adding a lot more utility to his build than you would normally see on some Jin variations. And that Quicksilver Sash inside of the Scimitar really just making it that much more difficult for the Tigers to find a way to eliminate him from the fight. But if he goes down, it is all over for KONGDOO.
Certainly very true. Soul has hard carried, or at least shown his ability in the I think quarterfinals. Their match to get them here, and even versus their challenger opponents in ESC Ever, the real sort of poster children of the KeSPA Cup, taking them out as well. Of course, due in part to Punch's contributions. Let's not forget his Lee Sin there. In the games yesterday, but Soul on his Jin, it's been his best performing champion, highest KDA performer of his most played, and coming in here to the grand finals, it's nice to see at least him stepping up for KONGDOO when they need it most. 11, 1, and 3, and those 4 items completed. What do you think of the rapid fire cannon, an item we don't get to see a whole lot?
Well, the rapid fire cannon enables him a little bit more safety against the likes of Ash and KeSPA. It's not an item that you traditionally see. I'm actually very surprised that there's no Duskblade completed for Soul's Jin here, and instead, looks like the last item he's picking up is an Executioner's Calling, so he's going to head into either Mortal Reminder or Lord Dominance.
Now Smite actually does go the way of the Rocks Tigers, but one after another they get picked off. It's just a red buff, guys, but they trade 2 lives for it, and those picks are actually huge for the KONGDOO Monsters.
Oh, well, I don't know what exactly is going to happen. And oh, Roach
Oh, he actually used his steadfast presence to try to stop Cry from flying over, but he's untargetable, so it doesn't work that way. At least I think that was the play he was going for. Might have just been looking for extra speed. Either way, he does delay one recall as KONGDOO push up the mid lane. Now, they don't have Baron, but they do have turrets starting to fall.
Oh, no.
Might be looking for the pick. They do catch Smeb out there, staring him out there with the deadly flourish, but as turrets start to fall and the duo lane's dead, this is going to be an inhibitor for KONGDOO.
This is going to be an inhibitor for KONGDOO, and it's very reminiscent of game number 1, where the Tigers had a monstrous lead, and KONGDOO slowly but surely have clawed their way back into the game. And they have a superior team composition as we move into the late game now.
Oh, Cry. He's been the big power man in the mid lane for the Tigers, but now he could be looking to go down. Zhonya's will keep him alive for a little bit longer. Stall actually flashing into that Baron pit. Edge now in there as well. Smeb lots of damage out there as well to the outside, but all of KONGDOO are getting hit on by Baron, and it's not what they're going to be looking for, as now Roach running back away, and the Tigers might just have found a way back in after getting their dual lane picked off. They are the ones looking to chase this through for kills of their own. Rose just barely trying to survive. The slows come out and he will fall. It's 3 members dead for only Cry's death as well. And look at the Tigers going straight towards Baron.
Yep, they are going straight towards Baron, and Punch and Guger recognize that they have turned around. And it looks like Guger and Punch are going to try to interrupt and steal this Baron. Oh no.
Shockwave coming forward there. Lots of damage there in both the support and jungler. Exhaust goes on to Smeb, but Punch has no extra lives. He goes down, zoned out, and taken out by Smeb in the 1v2. And that will mean Baron Nashor will go the way of the Rocks Tigers.
Yep, and so Baron handed over to the Tigers. Cry has spawned, not going to lose any Nexus turret. And that was a very risky decision by Punch and Guger. And it's going to cost them as Freedom basically granted over to the Rocks Tigers now to get as much vision control and stuff as they want for Elder Drake. But taking a look at this fight, Cry lived so much longer than he should have. And you can see everyone was gunning for Soul. And at this point, all they needed to do was activate Baron's 6th member. And he just started actually doing work to the back of KONGDOO Monsters right there. And you can see Elf in the killing of Jin. And at this point, it was all too easy for Tigers to just find a way to get the Baron after Roach went down.
Picks into the game we have set up for ourselves here as we crest the 40-minute mark. Tons of kills for both sides, but what's the most significant advantage here? Is it just KONGDOO's Jin being so strong, or the playmaking potential of the Tigers?
Well, it's KONGDOO is still in the game as long as they can find a way to survive through the Baron Siege, and if they can find a way to get Elder Dragon. I don't think that it's all over yet. One of the things that they have to be very worried about is the fact that Soul doesn't have any of his summoner spells up, and Peanut does. So Peanut has a much easier time getting in on him right now, and one insect is just lights out for KONGDOO Monsters.
Punch actually waiting off to the side now. He is spotted out by a ward, so at least the Tigers will know that this is coming. Peanut doing his best job to clear out any side lane wards. Roach going forward, the Ash Arrow stunning out Edge, who will block this curtain call to kill off this wave. Now Roach goes too far forward, and he's going to be the first one to fall, the tankiest member out of there before the fight really even starts. Cry taking a lot of damage, but like you said, living way too long, and his kills coming back the way of the Rocks Tigers. They will lose their top laner, but they're taking out more. 3 dead now as Peanut finds the engage. He will take down Soul, and with it, possibly the chances of the KONGDOO Monsters. They have their jungler alive, but not much standing in the Tigers' way. They will push through for an inhibitor kill and possibly even the win. Victory set in their sights as the KeSPA Cup waits for them. If they can take down this Nexus turret and the Nexus to follow, it looks like victory will be theirs. The Rocks Tigers in a 4-game series take out the KONGDOO Monsters 3-1 and are your 2016 KeSPA Cup champions.
And that was such an impressive performance right at the very end. That team fighting from the Tigers coming out when they needed it most. And that was it. You just saw that the Ash Arrow from Prey was too much, and Peanut finding his way in right at the very end. Also with the Dragon Kick hitting 3 members with the Misfortune Ultimate was too much. And you still have to give it to KONGDOO Monsters. They fought so well against the Rocks Tigers here in the finals today, and No one would have expected that from them coming into this tournament, and they look fantastic, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to do in Season 7.
And even going up against teams that were not easy to take out. KT Rolster in the round of ages. The way that they dealt with a guy like Score, who just would never say die. They took out the reigning KeSPA Cup champions to make it here to the finals, and then went toe-to-toe, blow for blow against one of the strongest teams in the world here in the Rocks Tigers. But in the end, you have to look at the smiles on their faces and say congratulations to a team that really just never let up against their opponents. The Rocks Tigers incredibly well deserving of being your KeSPA Cup champions. That's going to do it for us here at the KeSPA Cup. We want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for joining us for this 2016 League of Legends KeSPA Cup. We'll see you a little bit later. But not before. We have an interview now with the Rocks Tigers here. Hyung on stage. Here to ask a couple of questions to our just recently crowned KeSPA Cup champions. Congratulations, Gorilla. It was your birthday yesterday. So how do you feel about this win? And Gorilla saying, I've been playing in tournaments for the last 3 years, so I've never been able to go home for my birthday, but now that I'm here, winning this tournament, it's a big boost. Now getting some thoughts here from Prey, the Rocks Tigers AD carry. Prey, you're adding another title to your LCK championship. What does this championship mean to you? And Prey saying, it's somewhat discouraged. I was somewhat discouraged after getting eliminated from Worlds, but it is a really big boost, just like Gorilla said. And Prey just credits all of his teammates, saying that everyone did their fair share. Now moving on to their top laner, Smeb. The LCK and the World Championships and the KeSPA Cup must have been really tough on you in terms of stamina. What did you think when the result of the match was decided? And Smeb says, I feel like since the Rocks Tigers have been working really hard this year, 2016, it's really nice to have such a nice finish to this year, and it's an encouraging sign going into next year. Now, what would you like to say to the fans, Smeb? Smeb says, thank you for all of your cheers. It's been a great year, so thank you all to the fans for making this year so wonderful. Up next is Cry. Mid laner coming into the KeSPA Cup for the Rocks Tigers. You contributed to the Rocks Tigers' victory as their starting mid laner. How do you feel? Cry says, I made my debut for them this year, and I know that this is the KeSPA Cup, so I'm very happy to have gotten the win for my team. Cry also filling the shoes for Kuro. So what else would you like to say to maybe Kuro or the other team members? Cry says, in the last series, Smeb is always looking after me, treats him very well. So lots of props going out there. So one more question for Cry. What is your goal next? What's next for you? And Cry saying, I'm not sure where I'll be next year. But I want to work hard in that team with my teammates to try to win the LCK. And now turning to Peanut, saying congratulations, who says thank you. There were a lot of fan signs there for you in the audience. How did that make you feel? Peanut says, I'm sorry, I actually have pretty bad eyesight, so I really couldn't see them all. You've been a key player for this KeSPA Cup. If you had to pick an MVP for this tournament, who do you think it would be? And Peanut says, it probably would be my teammates, but at the same time, I'm pretty good. So Peanut, you've been especially good with Lee Sin, Olaf, and Nidalee here at this KeSPA Cup. Which champion was your favorite to pick? And Peanut says, I played a lot of Lee Sin this KeSPA Cup, and it's something that I worked really hard on for the World Championships. So Lee Sin is definitely has to be at the top for me. And now we have Coach Song and No-Fei for the ROX Tigers. No-Fei is saying, he's delighted that the ROX Tigers could win. He said, they spent a month trying to close things up with their at Worlds, and so he's very excited. So he's looking forward to. So he told his players to, take it easy and enjoy the tournament. And he really didn't have high expectations coming into KeSPA Cup. So he's very thankful for his players who, really delivered when it came to the finals and really the entire tournament. And also referring to using Cry as their starting mid laner, he's very proud of how that turned out. Especially since he was their sub for the mid lane. And saying, we've been really sorry so far because Cry hasn't really gotten a whole lot of opportunities, but he's very happy about how things turned out. So one last cheer for your 2016 League of Legends KeSPA Cup champions, the ROX Tigers. So we'll be coming back with the awards ceremony soon, but that is going to do it for our 2016 League of Legends KeSPA Cup. Your champions, the ROX Tigers, with a 3-1 victory in the grand finals over the KONGDOO Monsters. And here's a reminder of just how that victory happened with a quick replay of our final fight. Some incredible outplays and just really the engage that wound up turning it back around from them. You can see the nice bullet time from Gorilla playing his signature champion to just seal the deal. And now getting that last second hit onto Soul. Just no way to escape there. Peanut flashing for the kill, the pick onto their most important member. And of course, closing things out immediately following that to pick up the win in that deciding game number 4. The ROX Tigers, your champions. And of course, the real winners here, LS, are the fans. So we do want to thank everyone for coming out here to the Bexco Arena here in beautiful Busan, South Korea. Thank you so much for joining us to witness this historic moment as the ROX Tigers claim their 2016 KeSPA Cup championship. We will be awarding them their trophy here momentarily. They stand there on stage. So they will be awarding that trophy right now. So we're going to welcome on stage to award them the president of KeSPA. This is Byung-Hoon Jun. Making his way on stage for handshakes with all of the triumphant ROX Tigers players. Nice handshakes going off there towards the side. And it looks like they will be awarded with the first place placard showing that they are in fact the winners of this year's 2016 League of Legends KeSPA Cup. Of course, huge congratulations to the Rocks Tigers for their victory here. You can see big rounds of applause both from the fans and, of course, the players themselves. Pretty happy to have achieved a victory to round out the this year's competitive performance for them. Of course, setting up for big things to come in their future. Congratulations once again to the Rocks Tigers. Now they will be invited to finally get their hands on the KeSPA Cup trophy. And that is going to conclude our KeSPA Cup broadcast for this evening. Congratulations once again to your champions, the Rocks Tigers. We want to thank you all for being a part of this momentous occasion with us. Thanks for watching, whether you are here in Busan, South Korea, or of course watching from abroad. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. Of course, big thanks to the staff here at SPO TV Games and everyone else who has made this possible. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.
You're moving, we can feel it in our bones. Turn our hearts to all you're doing with a shot.